What's up? Welcome to this episode of Sunny Driver. Today we are out here with one of my very favorite cars of all time. Martin and Sean were nice enough to bring it out, and here it is, the 1966 Ford Mustang. So tell me about this car, man. What? I know it didn't look like this when you first got it.
No, it was originally a 289 V8.
Okay.
It was my dad's. When I was heading off to college, I was actually going to get a Jeep Cherokee.
Okay.
And we were going, and then he said, "Do you want the Mustang?" I said, "Absolutely."
What kind of question is that? Of course.
Exactly. And so I ended up, this was my daily driver through college. And then, gosh, early or late 90s, I brought it home, and I actually blew the original engine.
How'd you do that?
Getting a little spirited with it.
Okay.
It was just a 289, but
okay.
I drove it like it was a 408. But fast forward to early 2000, my best friend growing up, he lived a block away. Sean and his family moved in across the street, and he has a Fox body,
okay,
a 91.
Yep.
And he was replacing the engine in his, and so I was like, "Hey, what are you doing with your old 5.0?"
There you go.
And so he, long story short, that's how our friendship started. He actually built this car from 2000 until it was done in about 2008. Slowly done. Yeah. Well, it's ever evolving.
It's funny because like you watch these shows like everything that Chip Foose does,
right?
Or like they're like, we build an entire car in 2 weeks. Like that's not reality.
No.
Like it takes years.
No.
And it takes meeting people.
Yeah. And we all have jobs, and
yeah,
like
it takes real time.
Like a weekend, we'd meet up on weekends and work on it. So slowly, he put in the 5.0 from his car, and he did everything from the rear end, the transmission, the subframe connectors, the X-brace, the interior. It was originally an automatic, a C4.
Okay.
And he put a 5-speed
that's
T5
the way to go.
in it.
Yeah, totally.
Custom hood scoop.
Well, let's get over it. Let's look at some of this stuff. So you're just teasing me over here.
And I'm gonna let him go ahead and talk it since he built it.
Oh, I mean, just looking at it, it looks like there isn't a single thing that hasn't been touched on this car. Like
the engine bay wasn't painted simply because I knew I wanted to do a stroker.
Okay.
And pulling it in and out. So,
sure.
That'll be in the future.
Gotcha.
But everything else is pretty much brand new.
Let's start from the outside. Is this an original color, and the original color for this car?
This is the original color, signal flare red for 66.
Okay.
I had kicked around the idea of going, I'm sure you're familiar with the BMW, the M3 Sunfire Orange.
Oh yeah.
I was going to do that.
More of like a metallic, right?
Yeah.
Got
it. But then I decided to stick with the original and did the 2-stage, which I'm actually going to get the paint correction. It just got out of paint and auto body from Executive Elite Auto in August.
Oh really?
Yeah, and so I'm taking to get the paint correction and ceramic coating in April.
It's worth it.
Yeah.
I've seen the cars with ceramic coating. You get a ding and like it just like fills itself in, and the paint underneath is still fine, especially if it's a car you're going to keep forever and you really like it. It's worth it.
And and those that love the early Mustangs love the fastbacks. I'm a coupe guy because
you like the
I
coupes?
own one.
Yeah.
And I would actually go so far as to say I would always be a coupe guy.
Yeah.
Just because it's more sentimental to me. But I love them all.
Yeah.
But go ahead. This is your show.
Tell me about it.
All right, so what did we first do? We first put the motor in.
Yeah.
A long time ago.
Let's start there.
Yeah. And so it evolved off, obviously it evolved. So we pulled the motor out, and we ended up trying to sand it down, all the metal in here, and just make it cleaner.
Okay.
And then gave it a paint job a little bit. It's obviously got dirt because it gets driven.
Sure.
Motor went in, and then we were figuring out belt configuration, cooling system configuration, you know, all this stuff that's in there now.
Right.
And so I was like, we need to have a good cooling system, because the old Radiator system, they're notorious for not necessarily being up to par for cooling more powerful engines. So ended up notching the frame and putting in
for the Radiator.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness.
From a Fox body.
So this
no way.
This is a Ron Davis Radiator made for a Fox body, but it fits perfect in here if you notch the frame and it sits about the right height.
I like that sentiment. It fits perfect if you cut up the car.
Exactly.
So then inside you can't really see very well, but we opened up the front of the radiator support, because originally the sheet metal closes in more for the original Radiator.
Oh, okay, right.
So it opens up to almost perfect for where the tanks actually sit.
Right.
You get maximized airflow right through where it needs to be. So
got it.
And then you could talk a little bit about the apron. That's custom that he fabricated.
Oh yeah, forgot to tell you about that. So that opening there is real popular with a lot of Mustang guys. And
is that what was on the GT350?
It is.
Was that it?
But those were fiberglass.
Okay.
So my deal was, I didn't want, there's so many issues with the fitment of fiberglass.
Yeah, 100%.
So he got an OEM apron.
Yeah.
I still have my original for the car, but he fabricated that. He welded it up and filled it.
So wait, you're telling me this is made of metal?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
It's an original bumper, and then we had a template we wanted, figured out the size, and then cut everything, and then I then added panels and welded those in, and then I got the ground down the welds to be as smooth as possible, and then let the paint guy do the rest of the work on that.
That is awesome.
So, yeah.
You should make more of these. You can make a killing on that.
He could, absolutely.
Yeah, no doubt.
Yeah. I mean, you know, getting it perfect is just a matter of just welding it right with not overheating it, and then you know, the guys who do paint can make it like look perfect.
Right,
yeah.
totally.
Just like any kind of other patch panel repair.
So what year did you say that you swapped in the 5.0?
That's actually from my old 91 Fox body, and so we went with it still has the original crank rods, but it's all new bearings, new piston rings. The clearance on the pistons of the wall was actually fine, so I ran with that, and we put new heads, new cam, flashy stuff.
Yeah, just to give a little history, when I had him working on it, my only stipulation was I just want it to be reliable.
For sure.
And then as he started building it, then I would show, I want aluminum heads, I want a bigger cam, and so it just kind of
evolved.
Yeah.
So, and now we're at the point where I just want more horsepower, and I'm talking to him about building off a dart block.
Okay, big horsepower.
Yeah, different foundation.
Yeah. Okay. So, I mean, that's the cool thing about older cars, if you do them right, is if you treat them well, you can still drive them all the time. It doesn't have to be parked or sitting in the garage.
Absolutely, and that's part of the reason why I love where it's at now, because I could still enjoy it, go on cruises.
Yeah.
Shout out to the Classic Stings Cruise San Diego.
There you go.
And while we're building the new engine, I could still enjoy it. And then once that engine's done, it's a weekend.
There you go.
Pop it out, pop it in, hopefully. Knock on wood.
Yeah, right. I always say with projects, especially car or house projects, it usually ends up taking twice as long and costing twice as much.
Exactly.
What about this piece right here? This looks killer.
This is actually made by one of the guys. He has Cheese Built Industries, James McKinney. He's the president of the Classic Stings crew.
Is he local as well?
He's local. He's out in Alpine.
Okay.
If you get a chance to feature a car of everything in his 66 or 65 Mustang is completely one-off.
Oh my gosh. I'm all for it. You just let me know.
Yeah, no, I'll let him know. But he made this. This was one of his, I think his first piece that he made. But I don't know if he's making them anymore. I know Scott Drake makes them now without the
dimples?
speed holes.
Oh, the speed holes, yeah.
Dimple die.
Yeah, and then so that just basically covers up. It was like a void there.
Right. No, it makes it look really clean, really like professional looking.
And then he also does the whole engine dress-up kit for everything.
Do you find that all these supports, are you able to feel this when you're driving?
It's funny you ask. The last time I drove this Mustang was when everything was stock. Yeah. And that was in 1999.
Right.
So he had put all this stuff in, and it had been over 10 years.
Oh, okay.
So it's hard for me to say how much of a difference, because I really don't remember.
Right.
I know it was very loose, very
Right.
kind of sloppy. He also added the Borgeson power steering kit. So it does feel tight.
That's good.
But I don't know what to compare it to. So.
Is that an electronic steering, or
no,
is it?
It's just a power assisted.
It's like a GM
hydraulic.
GM pump and GM steering gear in it, and it's got the bracket to make it to fit in this, and luckily we got a pulley to match the pulley system to work with it.
Right.
And it works pretty well, and I think it's a pretty popular setup with a lot of other
that's awesome
cars. That was the biggest hurdle I know that I was trying to find, was because he did the serpentine belt, to find the right pulley made up with it.
Was
it pretty heavy, the steering, before you did that?
Very.
Yeah.
It wasn't that heavy.
I mean, compared to what it is now,
driving it was fine, but parking, it was another story.
Yeah, exactly.
And again, I drove this back when I was in college. It wasn't a big deal.
Right.
But now I just want to get in and not worry about anything.
Well, I think it matches kind of your ethos of just making it usable, you know?
Exactly.
You just want to be able to fire it up and go use it, you know? Not to think about it so much.
Yeah. And that's why, like, he added,
that was one of the other first things we added. I was like, if you're gonna go faster because the motor's got more power, we want brakes. And so that was like the other one of the second things we did was upgrade at least the front brakes.
Yeah.
And then proportioning valve so that would work with the stock drum in the rear.
Oh, okay.
But then
then we did upgrade to disc in the back when we changed the axle.
When you did the rear end.
So yeah, it was drum for a while.
So disc in the back as well.
Disc in the back as well.
These are pretty big.
It brakes fairly well.
Yeah, I imagine you wouldn't have any trouble bringing it to a stop anymore.
No. And then
compared to the drums, very good,
yeah. I had drums on my Z, and it wasn't so much that the power of them was bad, it was that modulation was really hard, and especially on smaller wheels, it would lock them up all the time.
Yeah. Well, I had a really bad experience coming home from college where I locked them up.
Yeah.
And I spun out.
Yeah.
It wasn't fun.
That can take and then you start trusting the car less, and then you can't drive as hard, and so just having this, I feel like, makes the car more enjoyable to drive.
And then he did the rear end with 355 or 350.
355s originally with the C4, and it was on the freeway it wasn't great, but it was I remember test driving this thing a lot to tune the engine. Once I got the carburetor on it, I drove living hell out of here. Up and down private roads to get it going, and trying to find out where the holes were in the fuel system, like the way that we tune it, and had an O2 sensor on it to read, make sure it was at the right air fuel ratio, and we got it pretty much narrowed down to where it runs pretty damn good. So but then we added frame straightening or stiffening bar. What is it called again?
Well, the subframe connectors, and then the X brace that.
So was that part of the stuff that happened while it was off the road?
Yes.
I was gonna say, I feel like that's something you would definitely be able to tell the difference.
I did, for sure.
Yeah.
It was more vibration just transmits through the whole car.
Right.
And but everything came together, and it felt like a more modern vehicle afterwards.
Right.
Not as
well, especially because, I mean, how old is this car now? Like
over 50 years.
Over 50 years old, and it's a unibody, so stuff like that can definitely help.
And he creature covered. He added power windows for me, and we're gonna do the power locks eventually.
There you go. AC?
No, never.
No AC.
That's horsepower.
We're men. We have to suffer for our cars.
It's called rolling the windows.
There you go. What about this interior? That does not look stock to me.
So these seats are out of 95 Mustang.
Okay.
And they're the leather. I got them wrapped in cat skin leather, which is really popular at dealerships nowadays. Now, it was out of a shop in Miramar. The center console, he added the power window switches. And the rear seat is also wrapped in leather. That's the original rear seat.
Oh, okay.
Steering wheel,
rear grocery area.
Yes, exactly.
I don't think you're gonna get a full-size human back there.
No. And then he put the Grant removable steering wheel system, so that comes off.
Who made the conversion between the hub and the steering wheel?
That's Grant.
Oh, Grant did. Okay. Yeah.
But I'm actually I'm gonna keep the Grant because I like the locking feature of it. But I just bought a steering wheel, a FSS steering wheel for my truck.
Okay.
And I love the way those look. And I just learned that you can use the Grant hub with it.
There you go.
probably something I'll do.
Do these roll down?
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know how I didn't even know that. That's crazy.
Yeah.
Is it a manual crank back
Those
there?
are manual crank. Yeah, they're pretty tight.
Yeah, let me see.
Oh my gosh. I don't know how I never even had noticed that before after looking at it.
Still work.
Yeah.
They are stiff though, but I had to clean them up and everything when I took all that apart. Yeah.
And then I was like, when we were doing the power windows, I was like, I never roll them down.
Oh, the rears?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I was like, it's another $200 just for those quarters that I'm never gonna use.
Yeah.
But maybe down the road. I don't know.
Really, if someone was sitting back there, it might help. But
Yeah.
Yeah. If you're up here, nah, it's not gonna make much of a difference.
Yep. Yeah, then we have the stereo system we haven't put in yet. The gauges are actually from a guy that was local around here.
Okay.
JME Enterprises. I don't know if he's still around, but it was a complete billet block and autometer Phantom gauges.
Oh my gosh.
And then he did the matching glove box door.
Oh, let's look at that.
Yeah.
check that out.
That's killer. What did it look like originally?
It was all black, like a camera, the old camera. They called it the camera crinkle finish, like from the old school cameras. It wasn't.
I know what you mean.
Yeah, it was a 5-gauge cluster.
Okay.
The 66s had the 5-gauge circle cluster, and the 65s had the sweeping, the one
Oh, okay.
sweeping speedometer.
Is there any differences between the 65 and the 66? Are they basically the same?
They're basically the same car. The gauges are different. The grill's different.
Right.
I had these removed.
What was there before?
It was a 4-fin, or was it 3-finger, 4-finger?
Yeah, I can't remember.
They kind of shoot it shut.
Was it a functional grill, or it's just okay?
No.
Got
Yeah,
it.
just,
got it.
Accent piece, and then the 65s just had a little chrome, like kind of little tiny C.
Right.
I'm trying to think what else.
Let's move to the back too.
Yeah, this is something that I had wanted to do, was black out the tail.
Yeah. That looks super clean.
And then I had these powder coated.
Okay.
And then the spoiler is actually a really cool piece from Anvil Auto. It's actual carbon fiber.
Yeah.
That right before paint, I trusted him. He's the only one I trust with this car to drill holes in.
Oh my goodness, yeah. There's no going back.
No. But yeah, I was hoping eventually that they would make a front carbon fiber spoiler to match.
Oh yeah.
Because they do a lot of Camaro parts. That front spoiler is actually a 67 Camaro spoiler.
Wait, what? It fits perfect.
Yeah. Oh, it didn't
fit perfect.
Fit.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, it looks great.
Thank you. I actually won this gas cap from Instagram. So,
how'd that work?
It was just a contest. It was classic Mustangs and Cal Pony.
Okay.
And I just won it.
Awesome.
I had the locking one before, which I like, but I like that.
Well, it looks like really cohesive, like with the blacked out back and the lights and the carbon fiber piece. Like it looks like it all goes together.
Yeah,
you know.
And every light in here is LED. The interiors are LED. The headlights are LED.
It's the way to go.
Tail lights are sequential. The rear backup lights are LED. The parking lights are LEDs.
Yeah. There's some things on cars that I think it's cool to keep original, but like brakes, lights, stuff like that, just put the new stuff on. Like it's not a better car for keeping the old stuff on it, you know.
And and then I added the rear panel, and he actually added the third brake light.
Oh, so
there.
Speakers will be going up there. Killer.
So I have the woofers that I had in college that actually fit perfect in the trunk, 6x9s.
Perfect.
6s in the kick panels. Tweeters will be where the old window crank used to be.
Oh, that's so cool.
I actually have a badge there, and that's where the badge is where the tweeter is going to be.
That's so cool.
And then I won't use the little 3-inch speakers that are in the dash.
Yeah.
Pretty useless.
I like that you kept the chrome. A lot of times when people are doing like a Restomod type build, they'll do black or painted or whatever, but the chrome adds that little touch of classic car, you know.
And the reason why I did is because of some of the trim pieces, like the drip rail.
Right.
Like I'm not going to replace that.
Right.
And then the wheels.
Right.
If I did everything black, then the wheels would look out of place.
Right.
I've seen vehicles where they try to cover up all the chrome or paint them.
Yeah.
And you know, some people might like that, but like if you're a classic car guy, you can tell, and it just doesn't look right sometimes.
It's just not right.
Sometimes you do too much, and it's too much.
Yeah.
So,
And
right.
for the record, these are just Plastidip, just to see the look.
Okay.
But
All
they
right.
are chrome.
All right, got it. No, I really like the blend between modern and classic, because it has the classic look, the modern engine. You know, you have like modern bits on the back, but the chrome, it's a good blend.
Thank you.
I dig it.
And definitely not gonna go Coyote.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, noted.
Yeah, so, that's just a lot of work in the engine bays and the 65, 66s.
Do you have to do more cutting to make it fit?
Yes.
They're really
So actually, I have a Pro Touring independent front suspension that I just
okay.
It hasn't helped, but that involves cutting the shock towers.
Okay.
So that'll add that much space for the engine. So you can put things like a Coyote or a...
Wait. So what would be cut out?
These shock tower braces, this whole thing.
The whole thing?
Yeah, and so it'll just be a flat panel.
Where does the suspension mount to?
It's actually a Mustang 2 in front coilover.
Oh, whoa.
It's made for Pro Touring.
Whoa.
We just have to keep the we
yeah.
have to keep the strength in the engine bay, because when
right.
you get rid of these, it weakens everything in here. So we kind of have to. We already have everything connected frame wise, so that's not an issue. But we will have to find a different way to mount these to keep everything strong.
Got it. Well, especially if you're going to be adding even more horsepower, you know.
Yeah.
So how much, when these came out in '66, how much horsepower do you think it had?
Gosh, to the original 289, you would be able to answer that.
Like, I think it was around 200.
200?
I think. It wasn't. People are always shocked. They're like, "Oh, it's a big V8. It's got to have a lot of power." And then you look at the actual stats, and it's like, well, compared to everything else back then, they did have a lot of power.
right, exactly.
Different, so,
Well, I just watched a YouTube channel of I forgot what it was, but I was telling Sean they raced a 80s Monte Carlo.
Yeah.
Was it a Monte Carlo or a Buick? It was a Buick.
Yeah.
Against a 2019 minivan.
Oh yeah.
Do you see that? And
no, but I can picture how the results went.
The Regal won, but it was super close, and I was just like, oh,
cars in general have gotten so much faster in like recent years. Like Hoonigan did a video recently where it's Larry Chen's R32 GTR, which is like the icon, the JDM legend, like, and then they raced it against a Sentra, and he barely won.
It's nutty. Like,
it's pretty crazy now.
Well, I drive. My wife has a Camry, a new Camry.
Yeah.
And it's spirited. Like it's fun. Like So it's technology is coming a long way.
Yep.
I could guarantee you this will never be electric.
There you go. All right. It won't be the Coyote, and won't be electric.
No,
all right.
No.
I can get down with that. I mean, a lot of times I talk to folks and they're like doing the build, they're making modifications, but it seems like for a large part, like you're just at like the enjoyment phase of this car.
Yeah.
So just...
and he knows, like, I'm always calling him and saying like, hey, I want to do this. Hey, I want to do this.
Right.
But I really am at the point where I love being able to come out and meet you and drive and show it. And I'm going to a lot more of the Cars and Coffee that are big now.
Yeah.
They just had a big show right here at Rancho San Diego. We're just drive and enjoy it and be around other car people, regardless of whether it's a classic, a new car, or domestic, import, whatever.
I talked about this in another video I did, where it's like, especially like in the drift community, but just car guys in general, a lot of times they'll spend so much time building and like buying parts and chasing stuff that it's off the road for years, and then they just sell it.
Yeah.
Like, what was the point of that?
Right?
Like, just get it running and go enjoy the car, you know?
Yeah. That's exactly why I love having the engine in it right now. That's super functional, runs really well, it's super reliable. But then when we do get to the point where we're building it, we could just build it on the side.
Yeah,
and it won't skip a beat on this being tied up or without a heart.
For sure. I just got my car running after 2 years, so I've been
exactly.
Are these LEDs up front?
Yes, they're Oracle LEDs, and the actual these were the H4 tri-bar setup. I believe those were big in motorcycles.
Oh, okay.
Tri-bar. I really like the older headlight look with the LEDs.
Yeah.
To each their own, but I I don't like the halos on classic cars personally.
I totally agree. Like, I want the modern LED performance, and I want them to be bright. And but yeah, I love the classic look. That for me, that's like the best combo.
Yeah. There's a company that has a classic LED that you could choose whether you want a halo or not.
Okay. Yeah.
Dapper Lighting.
Yeah.
And,
they make stuff for Z's as well. They're awesome.
So, like, but I'm happy with these. Like, I'm not, and truth be told, I don't ever really drive this thing out at night.
Yeah.
But they are super bright. Yeah,
it's a functional scoop. Forgot to
a
mention.
functional scoop.
Yeah.
So is this the original hood?
No. So this is an original OEM hood that I bought used.
All right.
I still have the original hood that was to this car. It's funny that this hood scoop is actually off of a 1983 GT. It was a non-functional cowl hood scoop, so it was turned around.
Wait, so it was backwards?
Yes. So I saw this on a forum like 10 years ago. Yeah. And I was just like, where did you get that? That looks amazing. And he's like, it's actually from an 83 GT. I got it off of eBay. So
it's probably like a $80-$100 part or something.
Well, when
like
I bought this, it was $40 off of eBay.
Dude, there you go.
Yeah. And so
the price is right.
Yeah, turned it around. He cut the hole in the hood, and then he put the trim on there.
That's awesome.
And bolted it up. And I just love the look. I get asked almost weekly what hood scoop is that.
That's hilarious.
But the sad thing is you can't find them anywhere, because I kind of look on eBay every once in a while. They're hard to find.
The word got out.
Even the aftermarket part companies, I don't see them on there. There are a lot that look very similar to this,
right?
But this, for people that are wondering, this is actually from a 1983 GT Mustang.
Well, it works perfect. I mean, the carb is like right there.
Yeah.
So it's probably actually functional.
I originally thought, before he told me, that it was like off of a Boss 429
yeah
Mustang,
totally,
because they had that huge hood scoop.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's from that. Yeah. I was like, wow,
that is awesome.
And then one of the next things that that we had talked about is actually to make it more functional, do a turkey pan.
Turkey pan, what is that?
Yeah, so you wrap the
okay,
filter, and then it seals.
Yeah. Now that you say, I can picture it.
Yeah.
Okay, totally.
Yeah.
What is the purpose of this cover over here?
That is just so normally if the cowl hats are notorious for leaking in these cars. I don't have that issue. Okay. But there's a vent that shoots air into from the cowl into the driver's side. Yeah. And it's we took it out. Okay. So when I drive this early in the morning, I just have freezing air shooting in on my feet. Yeah. So I got that to cover it so I could drive in the morning and still feel my toes.
It's actually a function of the air conditioning system.
Okay, so got it.
It takes air in and it uses it for both heating and cooling, depending on how the doors and the
And that's just a magnet that comes right
out. Yeah, and the other problem too is this is like a big notorious area for rust, because water will go in and then it'll just sits in these channels underneath, and they're all rusted out on a lot of old Mustangs.
Right. I was about to ask about rust on these cars. Is it a big issue other than that spot there?
So where I had rust issues that they fixed were in the drip rails, like usually, and it wasn't bad. Like this car was really clean.
That's good.
You'll always get little rust bubbles like here and in the doors.
Huh. Because moisture probably just hangs out down there. Yep.
And then other than that, this car was really, really clean. He took it down to metal, and other than those few spots,
that's great.
There wasn't a lot. But yes, they are notorious for having rust. All old cars. My truck, it's
a lot of rust.
A lot of rust over it. So, but luckily I know a welder.
There you go. There you go. Yeah, rust is probably, man, if you're building a car the right way, rust is like the most expensive thing you can do. So that's good to hear that it doesn't have a lot.
Yep. But then, they don't make these wheels anymore. They're Edelbrock 409s. Okay. I saw them years ago in a Mustang Monthly magazine. How you doing? Thank you. And I had Discount Tire track them down. And,
there you go.
Was able to get a set. And
I think it's the right look.
No,
just
I
a
love
super
the look.
clean chrome spy.
And they do make new companies make the same spoke style.
Yeah.
But it's this lip that I love.
Oh, okay.
That,
yeah.
That it really caught my eye.
Yeah,
so,
they look right.
If I were ever to change my wheels, I would love to go, I'm sure you Forge line, but that's $2,000 each. And
oh
that's
yeah.
level that I'm not ready, and I don't know if my wife will allow that.
When we get when we hit the lotto, we'll get you set.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I appreciate that. So, but yeah, it's fun. I love it. Again, I can't thank this guy enough. He did everything.
Yeah.
Always helpful.
Well, that's the cool thing about building cars, and especially old cars a lot of times, is like it takes a village. Like you just can't do it by yourself. And a lot of times when you're like hunting down parts or trying to like find like the guy who knows about that mod, you know, you meet all kinds of cool people. So it's part of what makes it a cool hobby.
Yeah, and just we love getting out and driving it. Like that's the awesome thing with the crew that we've been hanging out.
Yeah.
It's great to go to shows and Cars and Coffee and park, but it's more fun to get out and drive. Like
for sure.
The last cruise we went was through the back hills, through San Ynez, Mount Laguna,
there you go.
Just,
that's a great drive.
Yeah, and it was a beautiful day like this.
Yeah.
Just fun to get them out and have a group of 10, 15 classic Mustangs or anything. Just yeah, it's
like
fun.
a rolling car show.
Yeah,
and people get stoked about it too. You're driving by and everybody's like waving and stuff. You know, it's fun.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I love the car.
Thank you.
Super appreciate you guys bringing it out and telling me about it.
We appreciate you taking the time to shoot it.
Yeah, you bet.
Love talking about it.
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah.
All right, guys, I think that's a wrap.
Awesome.
Thank you all for watching. We'll see you next time. If you guys are into this kind of video, hit subscribe, and we'll have more of this coming soon. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.